Welcome back to Behind the Box. Today we are going to be doing a review of Escape the Dark Castle.
In Escape the Dark Castle, players take on the roles of prisoners escaping the castle where they've been wrongfully imprisoned. It's a cooperative, story-driven, dice-rolling dungeon crawl where every turn a location is revealed and players must overcome the obstacle to move forward. If even a single person dies, the game ends immediately and everyone else is trapped. But if you all can survive the 15 locations and defeat the final boss, then congratulations! You've escaped the Dark Castle and you're free at last.
So if you follow us on any other social media channels, you will have seen us posting about this a bunch recently. So this was the only game that we bought at UK Games Expo this year.
And we weren't planning on buying any.
None. It just really grabbed us. We did the demo of it, and it was just so intriguing. The storytelling immediately grabbed us. It was so fun. Now, gameplay-wise, it's actually really, really simple. You're basically just rolling dice with different symbols on them based on which character you're playing, and you've got to match those symbols to the obstacle symbols. Mm-hmm. But it's more than that. It's just everything I'd want in like a roguelike video game as a board game. That's sort of the closest thing I can put it to, because when you play through the castle, it's generated kind of randomly each time you play. You have 45 cards in the base game, you shuffle it up, deal 15, and then that becomes your castle. You choose one of the bosses at random or choose which one you want to play against, put that at the bottom, and then you go.
So in all this chaos, though, there are a few things that can offer you a sense of control. For example, you've got unique dice for each character. For like the cook, they'll have a bit more might, and the abbot, they'll have more wisdom, and the miller will have more cunning. So you can sort of structure your team to be more balanced. It'll help you defeat more things as you go through the castle. On top of that, you also get item cards. And these can be things like food that restores your health, or weapons that boost your rolls, or relics that just give you more options when you're in a battle. So those things can really help out.
Make no mistake, the game is still really hard to win.
Yeah.
It took us 10 tries before we finally got our first win. And this is kind of due to a couple of things. Firstly, there's not a lot of opportunities to get more items, and sometimes when you get them, they're not immediately helpful, or they'll be stolen from you or something like that. And also bad rolls. Because this is just a dice rolling game, you might just have a round where a skeleton hardly doing any damage to you, and it just needs one might to defeat it. If neither of you roll might, turn after turn after turn, it just is chipping away at your health until one of you dies. We have lost that way before, and it's not a very fun way of losing compared to like really trying and feeling like you've nearly got it, you know?
Yeah, it can be really frustrating. And but there's some strategy that you can use to help yourself out. So for example, you might be able to rest in a battle and let your teammates kind of take over that battle while you restore some health. Or we talked about the items. You can choose who gets the item. Maybe a person that's got more wisdom shouldn't take something that gives them even more wisdom. Maybe give it to somebody who is really weak in the wisdom, that sort of thing. And also, on the location cards themselves, there'll be some options there for you too. So maybe you'll want to discard your item to bribe somebody so that you can pass through unharmed instead of having that battle. Also, revealing the location itself there, who opens that door, that's a choice in and of itself, because maybe a person who's weaker shouldn't open the door and reveal the location because bad stuff comes out of there and they might hurt the person that opens the door.
Yeah, I mean, that's all the base game stuff there, and we've really been enjoying that. We also picked up a copy of the expansion called Cult of the Death Knight. This is the first expansion that's available. Now, in this box, you get a boss, which is this guy, the Death Knight, and you get 3 new character cards, 15 new locations, and curses, as well as all the applicable dice. Now, the boss is a really interesting fight. We really enjoy him, and he's actually the person that we were able to defeat. It's a good boss. The new locations, they're all great too. It's just nice variety to add into your game, just shuffle it all together. There's a new mechanic about cultists, and they come into play with the curses. Now, the curses are one of the things that in a two-player game we actually don't like. I think they are too punishing, and they just sort of bog down the gameplay a little bit. In a four-player game, after everyone's gotten a bit more experienced, they'd probably be fine to add in. They add those extra little twists, and people would be quite used to working with them and pick them up quite quickly. The characters are specialists. So usually a character is good at, say, wisdom. They'll have 4 wisdom across the 6-sided dice, and then they'll have 2 might and 1 cunning, for example, or 3 might, 1 cunning. And so there's this nice balance that you can work with.
Mm-hmm.
In this, almost all of the dice will be just one of the traits, and then the other 2 traits will be extremely weak. So it's not so much a curve as it is just a huge spike in one.
Mm-hmm.
Again, in a 2-player game, not great, because you'll often find yourselves getting split up from various location cards. They'll say you'll have to fight this wolf and you'll have to fight this wolf, and all it takes is me just rolling the thing I'm not really strong in to potentially lose a lot of health. But that's just our experience, and I think in a 4-player or 3-player game, again, that would work a lot better, and I'd be happy letting people play those characters then, but not so good 2-player. Now, there is a Kickstarter currently running where you can get 2 more expansions as well, and they all follow that same general format of 1 boss, 15 locations, maybe some new items or some other new mechanics depending on which expansion it is. So I like that format. I like the 15 cards. Each box can kind of be played as a sort of standalone adventure. You just need the base game for the dice and the characters.
Mm-hmm. So final thoughts. To be honest with you, I am a sore loser. It's really hard for me when it's a difficult game and we've had to play it like 10 times in order to win. That sounds insane to me. Why would I play that? It's really hard for me to lose all the time. But with this game, somehow it works. And I think that it comes down to the speed of it all. The whole game is over within 30 minutes on average. And so it's not as big of a time investment. So it's okay to lose and then just think, you know what, we've got a half an hour. Let's give it another try. Let's try again. On top of that, I also really appreciate the story that is woven within there. You can kind of create this tale of your escape, throughout the game.
That's probably my favorite thing about it as well, is that narrative that usually ends in failure and death and defeat. But if you do win, then it's a great experience.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really, really like that side of it. And all the cards are beautifully illustrated. I know it's probably quite a divisive series just because there's quite dark and graphic imagery sometimes, but I really like it. I think it looks really good. It fits the theme really well. There's flavor text on all of the cards. Everything's really well written. A lot of care has gone into what each card says and what each card does. They shift up a lot of the mechanics, which I really like. And yeah, I really, really like that side of it. I think it's greater than the sum of its parts, considering it is kind of just a dice rolling game. And for a lot of people, that will be a negative, a big, big negative. Because, like I said, there'll be times when you just won't roll what you need, and that is kind of just frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, and it feels like there's not a lot you can do about it sometimes.
Exactly. For us, it works. It really does. We're super happy with that. We don't mind those sorts of defeats. Some people won't. So if you know that you're somebody that's not going to enjoy just effectively a 90% luck-based game, probably not for you. You've got to look at it as the overall picture and see it for the story that it creates. That's what really helps us really get immersed and invested in this game. So I mentioned the Kickstarter. We're not endorsed at all by Themeborn, people that make this game. It's just we feel like it's really worth mentioning that if you're interested in this game as well as this expansion and other expansions and add-ons that are available, they are running a Kickstarter right now. They're doing it for the expansion, so you can back it just at the expansion level if you've already got the base game. But if you wanted that too, there is a higher pledge level that will get you the base game, the new expansions, the old expansion, all the add-ons. So I'll leave it down below. Take a look at it, and I'll leave our social media like we always do. But yeah, other than that, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Bye. Hey.
Good.
I got a little tongue tied when I was.
You said
Yeah.
you didn't say.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Yeah.
Loser.
You started drowning.
Yeah.